You know, every once in a while, an author just explodes onto the scene with a book that's so sharp, so unsettling, it feels like it changes everything. Well, today, we're diving into exactly that. The literary phenomenon that is Monika Kim and her absolutely knockout debut novel, The Eyes Are the Best Part.
And it all starts with praise like this. I mean, think about it. How often does a debut horror novel get a glowing review like this from the New York Times? It's not something you see every day. This isn't just a win for the genre. It's a full-on literary event. And those words, violent, smart, gruesome, original, they perfectly nail the book's identity.
And the acclaim, wow, it has been absolutely massive. We're talking the biggest award in horror. Bestseller lists, nominations next to literary giants. This just goes to show you it's not some flash in the pan. Nope. This is a critical and a commercial juggernaut. So the big question is, how in the world did this happen?
To really get the Monika Kim phenomenon, we've got to start with the sheer impact of her arrival. So let's unpack the story behind this incredible success.
Okay, let's be super clear here. Winning the Bram Stoker Award for a first novel, that's basically the horror equivalent of a rookie athlete winning MVP their first year. It's a huge deal, and it instantly puts an author into the Horror Hall of Fame. With just one book, Monika Kim basically announced to the world that she's a major new voice we all need to be paying attention to.
So what is this story that has both captivated and, frankly, shocked so many people? What makes The Eyes Are the Best Part so unbelievably compelling? Let's get into the guts of the narrative itself.
All right, to really get a feel for this book's unique vibe, I want you to imagine something. Picture the really poignant, beautiful exploration of Korean-American family life you get from a book like Crying in H Mart. Got it? Now fuse that with the dark, twisted, and totally subversive story of female violence you find in My Sister the Serial Killer. This novel lives right in that wild hybrid space.
And these themes are what make the whole thing tick. At its heart, it's a story that's absolutely fueled by feminist rage and revenge. But it's also a blistering critique of the fetishization of Asian women, and a deep, deep dive into generational trauma. It even uses symbolic cannibalism to explore these ideas, all while our main character is trying to navigate her dual Korean-American identity. It's a lot, but it's woven together brilliantly.
The premise itself is just so provocative and immediate. We're following Ji-won, a young college student whose world is just completely falling apart. First, her dad abandons the family. Then, her mom brings home a new boyfriend who is, to put it lightly, a total creep. And that's the spark. That's the catalyst for a rage that spirals into something dark, obsessive, and truly terrifying.
A story this powerful, this specific, well, it doesn't just come out of nowhere, right? It's deeply connected to the author's own life, her own vision. So who exactly is Monika Kim?
Okay, this is where you can really see the author's genius at work. It all starts with a piece of cultural lore her mother taught her, this Korean superstition about eating fish eyes for good luck. But in the novel, the main character's rage completely inverts that idea. She warps this passive hope for luck into something active, something violent. And that's when Kim weaponizes it. The act becomes this ritual for reclaiming power from the men who oppress her. It's just a masterful transformation.
And here's the person behind the pages. Monika Kim is a second-generation Korean American, and you can feel how her mother's immigrant experience informs her writing. But check out her day job. She works for an environmental agency focusing on social justice. She spends her days advocating for underserved communities. And that real-world fight for the marginalized, that feels like the engine that powers the justified rage in her fiction. It's all connected.
So, with this incredible blend of cultural heritage and sharp social critique, Kim isn't just writing another horror story. No, she's actually helping to define a whole modern subgenre and a new kind of heroine.
You may have heard this book described as a good-for-her novel. This is a really key term. It basically refers to this subgenre of feminist horror where we, the audience, actually find ourselves rooting for a female protagonist while she does monstrous things, because those acts feel like a justified, almost righteous response to all the trauma and systemic violence she's endured.
And this brings us right to the central, really uncomfortable question the novel leaves you chewing on. Is Ji-won just a monster? Or is she the inevitable product of a world that is itself monstrous? A world that's filled with misogyny, racism, and predation. The book refuses to give you an easy answer.
So,
After a debut this powerful, you can bet the entire literary world is watching her very, very closely. And this is clearly just the beginning for Monika Kim. So what's on the horizon?
Just take a look at her rapidly growing bibliography. Her debut novel drops in 2024. Then, just 1 year later, she's already been asked to write the foreword for Silk and Sinew, a huge anthology of Asian diaspora folk horror. I mean, that's a job usually reserved for a seasoned veteran, which just shows you how foundational her voice is already considered. And then, there's her next novel.
The title of her 2026 novel is Mulka. Now, if you're not familiar with it, Mulka is a Korean term for the absolutely horrifying and pervasive issue of illegal hidden camera pornography and digital surveillance, a uniquely modern and terrifying form of gendered violence. This tells us she is not backing down from tough subjects. She's leaning right into the darkest parts of our contemporary world.
And that really leaves us with this final thought. Monika Kim's work isn't just about making out monsters. It's about holding up a mirror to the real ones all around us. Her debut forced us to confront the physical gaze of predation. Her next book looks like it's going to tackle the invisible, digital one. So the only question left is what horrors of our modern world will she force all of us to look at next?